afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Charlotte, North Carolina, New York, Chicago, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, Dallas, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Toronto, Canada, Benchville, Mississippi, Miami Beach, Florida, Louisville, Kentucky, Newark, New Jersey, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Las Vegas, Nevada, also, and Los Angeles, California, also. And also Utica, New York, London, England, Santa Rock, North Dakota, and also Billings, Montana, and Kansas, Missouri, home for the Negro League Baseball Museum. They have a new license plate that just came out, so that you can get one of those. It was very historical. But we're going to launch with the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce on a Memorial Day weekend, the first day of summer officially. Today is May 29, 2021. My name is Ira Fowlkes, your host and creator, along with Reverend Elder Lyles. How you doing there, Rev?
Fine.
And it's good to hear. And also, Brother Scott, how you doing today?
Too blessed to be stressed.
Yeah, well, your weather's better today than it was yesterday for me to be riding.
Well, you did get a little chilly on the motorcycle yesterday.
Yeah, well, I call it cold. It was down in the 50s, I want to say. But anyway, we are broadcasting live on FergusonUSA.com from beautiful Ferguson, Missouri at the Greater St. Louis Family Church Complex. Here, Tommy Pearson, senior pastor, and also he's the mayor of Belltown Neighbors, and we want to thank him for being a great host for us at the church. And right now, we're going to have our Reverend Elder Lyles, pastor of the Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church at 5547 Dillon Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. Today, we will be having our prayer and a little Bible discussion with Elder Lyles, pastor of the Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church, 5547 Dillon Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. That's in North St. Louis. Pastor Elder Lyles, Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church at 5547 Dillon Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. So, Rev, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
So anyway, so right now we are celebrating another Memorial Day weekend. So we have a prayer, sir, for the holiday people as they travel.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we continue to give thanks for a wonderful gospel. How that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue believing to the saving of the soul, continues to make heaven your home, before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We already seated in heavenly places. And also we know already that our name is written in the book of life. And Heavenly Father, you have revealed that to us in your word. And a lot of people don't know that. They say, I hope I be in that book. I hope I be in that number. Well, if you hoping for something, you ain't never received it. So when you believe the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, you have received it. So we just give great thanks for that and bless all the sick in the universe. And Heavenly Father, that the word go forth and the Holy Spirit convict spirits all over the universe to be saved before it's ever too late. In Jesus' most precious name, amen.
Well, we want to thank you for that prayer. That was definitely, as we, going to another holiday weekend, and, hopefully people respect people when they get on the highways, or when they're driving, or when they're flying, or even when they're running on trains. Respect is something that we can get back, keep in mind that we should have learned while we was, convalescent. I shouldn't use the word convalescent, but just we were going through the pandemic. So what you got for us today, Rev?
Romans, the 5th chapter. And the subtitle says, The 7 Results of Justification. In other words, before I start reading the first verse, in other words, once you're saved, you're always saved. You can never be lost, because it's God that's saving you when you believe. It's not you saving yourself. That's why people say, I got lost once I was saved, but you ain't never been saved. God don't lose nothing he said. Therefore, being justified by faith, it said faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So things that are seen are temporal. Things that are not seen is everlasting and yet to come. That's why we said we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, by whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand. By grace through faith are you saved. It's the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only so, but we glory in tribulation also, knowing the tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us. See, God give you the faith to believe in him. That's the only way you can get saved, when he give it to you. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly. He sure did, over 2,021 years ago, dying for your sins, was buried and rose again, and you pass from death unto life before you sleep and after you sleep. The only message here is the gospel. This all I'm talking about is the gospel. Everything in these 66 books is pertaining to the gospel. God's Son. That's what's hidden to people. The death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Amen. For the record, who wrote the book of Romans?
Who wrote the book of Romans?
Yes, sir.
You really want to know? God wrote it. You really want to know? God is the one that wrote this book. He wrote his mind.
Okay, but I'm saying for people, and getting definitions so they can keep track of, the books that were written about who in the Bible, who actually, was the one given respect.
But the person that really wrote this by God influencing him was
right.
Paul.
There you go. That's what I'm talking
Brother
about.
Paul.
Right, because Paul, was very much, had a worldly life being raised, in power, and who hated, the Christians.
But Paul wasn't God. God used Paul as an ink pen to write this down. Look out! Just like he using me to speak this with my mouth, but he's doing the talking. It's his word and his mind. I want the people to know the truth. Everything in this book, God wrote it. Because this is the only book I have ever read, which I really haven't read because I done went from cover to cover, but I really haven't read it because it's inexhaustible.
Yeah, anytime you read it, you get new revelations. You teach you something new that you didn't know before. I mean, you open your eyes and stuff, to something that so wow, I didn't know that, or I read all the time like you do, and every time I read a different chapter, or even a different psalm, or even different proverbs, it gives me a new message every time I read them.
Well, I'm so glad God wrote it, and I believe it. Did it go to say, for scarcely for a righteous man will one die. The righteous man was Jesus Christ. Yet peradventure for a good man, some would even dare to die. But God commended his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Sure did. Much more then, being now justified by his blood. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other found I know, Nothing but the blood of, nothing but the blood of, nothing but the blood of Jesus. We should be saved from wrath through him. For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his son. Much more being reconciled, we should be saved by his life. And not only so, but we also joy in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, by whom we have now received the atonement. Without the shedding of blood, there is no atonement for sin. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For unto the law sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, so did, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. But not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For if through the offense of one many be dead, much more the grace of God and the gift by grace, which is by one man, Jesus Christ, had abound unto many. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift. For the judgment was by one to condemnation. But the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. For if by one man's offense death reigned by one, much more they which receive abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one, Jesus Christ. Therefore, as by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation. Even so, by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. That's Jesus Christ. For as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners. That's talking about Adam. So by the obedience of one should many be made righteous. That's talking about Christ. Moreover, the law entered, that the offense might abound. But where sin abound, grace did much more abound. That as sin had reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness unto eternal life by Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Well, one thing there, that's one of my favorite chapters, because it tells so much, about present day. As a matter of fact, this, like you said, these books were written over centuries ago, and they feel like they're fit into everyday life, when we can have these discussions, like what you just read, okay, it fit into everyday discussion we have it right now. But it says that we should be very thankful that God is blessing us to continue to read His Word.
Amen.
And that it's still relevant right now, because what is being said is like unbelievably the truth. And people have tried for years and years and years to prove it wrong, and yet the Bible still stands. So right now, right now, I just want to, thank you for all the things that you're saying here. And right now, as going to this holiday weekend, for the first time, people can move about, have it, vaccinated, and they hitting the highway or hitting the skyways or railways. We want to kind of, pray for them that they be I can't put the word around. Be blessed at the same time, be respectful of them people that they come in contact with. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Well, on that note, Scott, this is the Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com. Oh, by the way, Rev, I did like this song too, by the way. It's nice. Okay, you listen to Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com. Love to live right here in the Commerce on the Memorial Day weekend. On that note, take it down again. Montgomery for a beautiful, beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Here to the St. Louis, like this, somewhat it is overcast. The temperature is kind of low, and for people who go hopping and swimming pool for the first time, with the official pools open up, it's gonna be cold. You're gonna be what they call skinny dipping. You're gonna jump in and jump out, but anyway, that doesn't stop Mother Nature. I'm so happy to say that I hope you like our new music. We've been, trying to comply. We are in compliance with with all the copyright laws and all that good stuff, and I hope you like it. We actually appreciate your opinion. If Rev says it sounds like us, God says it sounds like us. And I hope you think it sounds like us. But anyway, as we begin this Memorial Day weekend, we can say that God has been answering our prayers, because right now the COVID-19 cases, are not moving fast as they had been. Right now, we still have been affected by 33 million, 4,000 people. And I do know out in the state of California, one of our associates, his daughter is in school out there, and they had an outbreak. Over 15 kids almost, and this is not good. So again, you still got to be careful and keep in mind they're taking that home to the parents. And needless to say, those people will not be having a cultural holiday weekend, because right now they're trying to figure out how to finish the school year up in some cases, and also how the parents will be dealing with themselves. So we continue to keep these in prayer. And also the good part about this is that they had originally predicted that we could expect to have over 600,000 deaths. And guess what? God is in the mix here, because we still hovering around 595,094 years up. But that figure has not drastically changed. In the hospitals, the costs are down, continue to get lower and lower and lower. So we have to say that that God in this pandemic is getting further and further away from what it was, and for dictating what we can and cannot do. A lot of states are opening all the way up. A lot of baseball teams with the basketball. In basketball, I need to bring up the fact that a couple of fans in the stand. I know we all been to baseball games, football games, and and all those teams, games that you go to, and unruly fans, make the whole city looks bad. And this past week or so, we had several instances in the NBA where people have just been very unprofessional, and in one case spit on the player, and throwing things on the players. Well, first of all, when you do that, you're gonna get kicked out the game for life, because everything you're doing a ball for nowadays, there's a camera someplace looking at you. So you won't do something and think you can get away with it. Matter of fact, how do I know that? A lot of my coworkers for years and years and years worked at the baseball games, the hockey games, and the football games, and they have all the sports that came here from the NCAA. They were cameramen, and I can think 4 or 5 of them that I know, and they have told me for a fact that there are a lot of shots they don't show, but if something goes on, they need it right away, they can pull it up. So the camera's not just on the baseball players or the basketball players, the cameras are also on you also. Take my word for it, some things they told me they see people doing, but again, it's not professional, and the people that happen in the NBA, they've been banned for life, and not only that, okay, this thing is also, kind of spilled over to people in traveling. You get on an airplane, everybody knows this has been a law for years. You got to put on your seatbelt. That's what the law says, okay? And for people, and the winter way they say, and not just that, alcohol is sort of a little part of this. So again, as they, but that can be controlled. But again, this is over a couple thousand people have been assaulted in some kind of way, which makes it kind of very unlikely that it will grow. We will be put under control. And also, while we're saying this, curfews or you want to be careful, please continue to wear wash your hands. That's something that, again, we say every Saturday. Wash your hands. That's something we've been taught as kids. And please continue to wear your face mask whenever possible, when you think you need to, when you're in close quarters and stuff. And social distance, when you can. Right now, a lot of restaurants, a lot of baseball teams are going, open up all these stadiums and put them in all of that, sitting right next to people, okay? And they also said face masks are an option. So again, you're not sure, who you coming in contact with. You don't know if they're vaccinated or not. So again, if I were you, I would not, err on the side. I would be very, very, very cautious to make sure I had a face mask on. And also, this anger that happens too frequent in our country. In San Jose, California, this past week, we had another man that did something that's so senseless. It makes no sense. We had another mass killing, another mass shooting. It was a mass killing. Well, over 8 people lost their lives, and this took place at the San Jose Valley Transportation Authority, which, it's like here in St. Louis and most places, they kind of provide the train service for you if you have light rail, or if you got buses, they can regulate that, and plus they maintain the buses and stuff, and a lot of these people, who went to work that day, didn't have the slightest idea. And also they were in a union meeting, and the young man, the gentleman, the person that did this, took his own life, which is not always a person that's going to stand up and be responsible for what he or she did. And so, and all of it is that, he trying to kill himself because he also burned his own house down. And then when the people he did get in there, they found all type of manifestos, all kind of ammunition, handguns, and a whole lot of stuff. Okay, that showed that this is something that was kind of planned out in advance, and not only makes this kind of even more kind of not a good deal that this man had been caught a couple of years ago trying to come into the country. And that he had a lot of information that made him be stopped and be investigated. But again, we don't know how far he wanted to share with other departments. But again, we need to be aware who you're around there work, who you speak to. And it seemed as though that he was shooting people around that he didn't like, and letting other people go. And you've been around people. Office and place and so you stop. Well, sometimes you have some people that work with you that sometimes they just don't get along with nobody.
We've all met people like that, Ira.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But as I try to tell you, I respect everybody, and some people have bad days, but that's who they are. So we just have to be respectful of everybody, and don't, just get on, space that they need, and just have a good day. And life is good, as I always say, okay, and we continue, make sure we have a good day. And also, this weekend, a lot's going on around the country, as I just said, but almost on all TV stations, radio stations, there's some type of reference being made to the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots that took place over 100 years ago, where we can't say it was thousands. There was hundreds of blacks were killed. Matter of fact, the whole black community was disintegrated, for lack of a better description. It disappeared, and that's why I said disintegrated, because even in Tulsa history, the people who lived there, who went to school there, a lot of blacks who went to school there, went to college and stuff. They was shocked, okay, and then for them to hear about the riot that took place. And then this was called one of the most prosperous blacks in the country. They had their own hotel. One of the best hotels in the country, black or white. They had, their own banks. They had, everything going for them. And they had a nice neighborhood. Some of them had nice cars and stuff. And all this got started because a young man, we were said that a young man assaulted a young white girl, a black young man did, okay? Well, years later, as usual, the truth comes out, and she said, well, that was not quite true. Well, that cannot take care of the mass graves that end up being dug and blacks being trampled upon in. This was something that was like a terrorist attack. The black community was being bombed. I mean, could you imagine your neighborhood where it's just been bombed? And also, it's one of those scenarios that in Oklahoma, even as we had this conversation, our black history is very, very, very important because it's a part of American history. Good or bad is what we did or did not do. And so now, several states, and just this past Tuesday in Tennessee, the Governor Bill Lee there, Republican signed a bill that bans critical race theory from being taught in their public schools. Now, it's not just him in Tennessee, okay? He joined Arkansas, Idaho, and guess what? Oklahoma signed a bill a couple weeks ago that they don't want their history to be told. And I said, people, who don't look like blacks, who wrote all the history books, and who right now don't want the story to be told what the facts were. But right now, as we have this conversation, they're starting to find mass graves in Tulsa, and they sort of dig bodies up. You still have people who've been around over 100 years right now who are actually telling the story of actually what took place. And this is something that's real funny here. In Tulsa, they have had a commission for many, many years. Okay, they're put together by the whites, the mayors, and other people there in the state, where they talk about the riots. And well, the blacks start their own group to reflect on their history, tell about their history. A lot of the people that had died unnecessarily. Well, this year the white group decided that guess what? We're not gonna participate this year. Well, the story is still being told because almost, as I said before, almost most cable channels are running some type of a spectacle about. Matter of fact, even LeBron James is doing a movie, a sketch, I should say, on CNN tonight. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. It's just the end of time. That what took place there, and so again. Our history has been said time and time again, okay? You can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And so right now, as we speak, I said right now there is celebration going on for the lives, for the history of what took place there in Tulsa, and we respect that, and a lot of our people on our staff here, on our team, have family members there that's out in Oklahoma, and we just pray, okay, that everything is peaceful, that all goes well in a timely manner, and they want to continue to respect. And also, one of the things about this is hard to deal with is that in the areas that were formerly black-owned, black communities. There are still certain churches that are still standing the test of time. Churches are always going to be part of the history of something going on in our black history, or anyone's history. And the church is always still standing there. It was burned down, but it wasn't burned totally down. It's been rehabbed there, and so now there's history there. And again, we want to keep them in our prayers. And doing this weekend, and just celebrating their lives also. And also, this past week in Washington, D.C., this is as far as history being told, right now, Congress has started them in one of the recess, and they'll be out of D.C. until June the 7th, which is a couple weeks from now, just about. And they left D.C. with a lot of our business undone. And we just start off with something that's affected all Americans. When on January the 6th, 2021, speaking of riots, we saw with our own very eyes our capital in Washington D.C. be under siege. And you see under siege, it's like some of those old movies where you had the Roman people storming the walls, climbing up the walls. They had hanging loose, being hanged outside, for Vice President Pence and Speaker Pelosi. They were just roaming the halls. No matter of fact, one of the Capitol Police actually died a day or so later from that. Matter of fact, one of the rioters actually got killed that day, trying to break into the chambers and what have you. And I guess that's one of the things I have to elaborate on. One of the congressmen that was actually seen on video again. See, this is the thing about video. It shows you not at your best moment, and you're not even thinking about, what's going on, and he was not thinking about what was going on. He was trying to fight to save his life. Because thanks to a black man, that when this took place, that he was able to take the rioters in a different direction away from the Senate chambers. Otherwise, it would have been a massacre right there. And these people would have lost, some of them, hope they wouldn't have lost their lives, okay? But they had a mob mentality. And so, again, speaking of that, the security police, the Capitol Police, not security, Capitol Police, one of the gentlemen who lost his life, his mother walked the halls this week, begging senators to actually, vote, Republicans actually vote for this bill. And all they asked him now is to have like an investigation, someone they did for 9/11 to find out what happened. No matter what happens, as far as the Senate being informed of this, the FBI is still, as we speak, arresting people right now. And they're still saying they have over 500 people right now that's going to go to trial, who will have a day in court. And in each case, they have their own evidence from videos, or they have evidence where the people that have been caught, like some here in St. Louis, Missouri, who have gone before the judge. And matter of fact, the young man that was actually in the one looked like a Viking, okay, where he represented our lawyer here in St. Louis, and he's claiming all kinds of things that he didn't know what he was doing. One person said, "Fox made me do it." I mean, you can hear a whole lot of excuses, but the investigation for the criminal charges will take place. But we want to know an investigation that actually what took place, what was behind it, because this all took place. And I said one thing, that we have a senator in John Tolley that did us know from St. Louis, Missouri no good when he was actually seen out front of the Capitol, raising his fist. As a matter of fact, he was the first one to contest the validity of the college, the votes, that we came in. So again, we pray that cooler heads continue to prevail, and that this investigation at some point will take place, and the truth will be told. And I think it's just a matter of time. And another thing, I'd like to say this. When we voted last November, be you Democrat, be you Republican, or you be on the Libertarian, or you be the Green Party, whoever you are, okay, when you vote, or independent, you did not vote for a thing called a filibuster. Now, the filibuster is what is holding everything up in Congress right now, where it's a rule that was created by Congress, by the Senate, I should say, that you can hold up the bill from being voted on. You had to have at least 60 votes to pass certain bills. Well, when we voted for these people, we didn't vote for a filibuster. And the filibuster has been utilized all through the years when it comes to was created to make sure that that blacks, will continue to be disrespected. Now, right now, I mentioned to you, there are several bills that are still hanging out there. One of the bills is the George Floyd Crime Justice Bill. Now, right now, that will affect a whole lot of things that will take place. Some that's going on because this past 25th was Mr. Floyd's birthday. And I think it was going to pass. But right now, they're still working out there. I think Senator Scott and Senator Booker and Ms. Vance, they will be able to come to some type of agreement here. Now, it's been said that Senator Scott will be negotiating for the Senate along with Senator Booker. And it's been said that if they come to agreement, that means Mitch McConnell will allow the Republicans to vote for this bill. Now, I say allegedly said because the same thing was told the congressman in the House that he would negotiate a deal on the January 16th commission, and that they gave the Republicans everything they asked for, but they decided it wasn't enough. So again, Senator Scott, Senator Booker, and Congresswoman Vance right now are negotiating now to come with a compromise. And it's been said if they come with a compromise, the Republicans will agree. So time will tell. And also, we talking about the George Floyd bill, and also another bill that's very close to all of our hearts has been the one that John Lewis voting rights bill. And right now, over 40-some states are changing the laws, or either changing the laws to make it difficult for minorities to vote. And this is after the most voted election people voted in our history. And we had over 50-something contestants when they went to court and found out that there was no illegal things done. It was done by the book. Even if we have this conversation, say Arizona is doing something that I don't know what they're doing. Where you're trying to count the votes, I don't know what's going on, but again, this is called the big lie, they call it right now. And so as this is taking place, this is a thing that continues to divide our country in a wrong way. And in doing things this way, it's creating a more of a divide. As we try to come along with this, and right now, the whole story being told here is that the election was not fair. And I always say this, and I say it again today: all the senators, all the governors, all the congressional people, all the state senators, state representatives, and anybody that we call on the lower ballot, how could they all be legal in the presidential part being illegal? Help me understand that one. It makes no sense. Everybody else was legal, but the top of the ballot was the president and vice president came in, that they were illegal. How is that a lie? But again, that's been a fundraising tool. And right now, we mentioned a couple weeks ago that Liz Shane, who also believed in that, and there was some Republicans also believe in that. But right now, history always comes out. And even we talk about what happened in the Tulsa riot, the history, at the end of the day, the facts will come to light. And so anyway, we pray that, again, that these states, that even like I said earlier, in the state of Oklahoma, where they're trying to, they just passed a law, some other states are trying to pass a law, that what blacks did don't exist. I mean, how can you do that? Well, I know how you can do it, okay? But one thing we know is, okay, this has been done primarily in Republican states where the governor has the power, or as the representatives have in the legislative section of the Republicans are in control of both the House and the Senate. And that's what voting is all about. And right now, for the most part, we're looking at fighting for their vote in 2022, 2024. And also, I would be remiss, okay, if we're talking about a national level, and this is something that's going here. We don't know how it's going to go. But former President Trump is right now being investigated by the state of New York and the state and the Justice Department there, as well as a grand jury is convened. Now, this is a special grand jury. Normally, the grand jury will last anywhere for 3 months, but this is going to last 6 months. And normally, we meet once a week, to review what's going on. But this grand jury is going to meet 3 times a week. And so, this will look into the business dealings of the former president. What he's got going, what he's done in the past, things that he said, and also McGahn was an attorney for the president. As you recall, during the impeachment process, that he has sued not to testify against President Trump during the Mueller investigation, and that's why I said these things will eventually come out, no matter how long it takes. And so it's going through the court. And the court has proven, okay, that he has to tell the truth. And how that will go, everyone will find out. And those hearings are sort of take place sometime, in the very near future. And also, one last thing about the civil rights, the commission for January the 6th, it will be voted on again. Senator Schumer said he will bring it up again for another vote. And if you can, look at the people in your district, or your cities, or your state senators, your United States senators who voted for, who voted against. Please do that. And also, this past week, okay, we had that job claim that they fell to 406,000 last week. And also the Labor Department showed that applications declined to 38,000 from 244,000 the week before. Now, Rev, that's a big jump, okay, in people looking for jobs, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the economy is getting better. Matter of fact, not only do we say that, but the United States economy grew at a robust annual rate of 6.4%. Now, in this time, okay, that means that good things are taking place that's a positive for the country. People are spending money when who has money, they're spending money. And that's one thing that took place when the bill that was passed early part of the year, it took place. Oh, also, I'm sorry. Another thing that will make this go even better is if this infrastructure bill, once it is passed, it will create so many jobs, so many good paying jobs. It will create, if you're a carpenter, if you're an electrician, if you are a plumber, if you're out there doing communication work, all these jobs will be available because as we fix bridges, highways, all are in bad disarray. Matter of fact, here in Missouri, we have the second lowest gas tax in the whole country. And the gas tax goes to fix our highways. Well, this past session, our legislators passed a small increase of 12% over a 5-year period. And guess what? There's a petition out right now to block that from being signed into law. But that goes to fix. We have over 1,000 bridges in Missouri alone that have been gone to the point they've been closed. A lot of them closed, and like that. And you said, why is this important? Well, in a lot of these rural areas, if you close a bridge here, they got a person in this county or in this port of the city, they got to take a different route to get to where they got to go. But their business is unsafe. And so that causes a hardship for everybody that's involved. So these are things, okay, that's taking place, on that. And also, the economy is doing good because right now, home buyers, they're signing less contracts now than they did last month. Mainly not because people don't want to buy, but there are few houses available for sale. And there are few houses being built because the cost of material, especially lumber, is very high. And also there's a delay in the delivery of lumber because you need truck drivers. In fact, another thing that didn't help at all was the pipeline being shut down. But now that's slowed the process down. So again, as we had this conversation, they're still trying to get truck drivers. If you look at any type of job nowadays, I know here in St. Louis and other parts of the country, if you restaurants still can't open up 100%, mainly because they can't find the workers. And in some cases, they're giving you bonuses. They're paying for your education. They're paying, there are all types of incentives they're giving people. And understand, Scott, you mentioned this like a couple weeks ago, that for the people in the restaurants, they only make less than $3,000 an hour, and they depend on their tips. Well, right now, a person that's a waiter right now is saying, I've got a better job. I've been retrained someplace else, or I'm making more money to do something else right now, so I don't want to go back to being a waiter. And unfortunately, in some places, you have a lot of people who mistreat waiters and stuff. We all have stories we've heard about those, seen some things they say. So right now, those restaurant workers, people in hotel workers, and to make matters even worse, we had, depending on this COVID-19 effect, is still affecting what goes on. A lot of visas that we allow certain people to come in from different countries, primarily as seasonal workers. You say, well, what's the big deal? Well, if you go into the swim, not in St. Louis, we kind of cold here, but most swimming pools have kids, students who come from foreign countries, come in to be lifeguards. And so that means that the pools right now but they can't because they got to have lifeguards. You got to have a certain amount of lifeguards. And also you got a lot of camps, summer camps that people go to every year. Well, again, employment for the workers right now are down, and a lot of those camps, summer camps, had people from foreign countries to come in to make kids there, to see how people live in America. Well, they want to send their kids in, but they can't because of the visas. So that means they're losing money. So it's a process that as we go through this pandemic, recovery, some things are taking more time than other things. But the one thing that is definitely is taking place is the workforce has changed forever, and in a lot of cases, you have a lot of the people who just work from offices and stuff. Well, some of the major corporations have found and said, guess what? We don't need as many people coming into the workforce to come into the office now, and so they're putting the office buildings. They downsizing. The people need to come in. In the past, before the pandemic, they were traveling to meetings and traveling, to conferences and what have you. Well, guess what? The Zoom call became a reality. And so now, fortunately, technology is unfortunately created a lot of people out of jobs, and also for travel, that means they see hotel money because that affects the hotel business. But right now, the good part is holiday weekend, almost hotels are filled to the brim that they can open up. And so again, this is a lot going on, and depending on how you look at it or how it affects you. And that's one thing we say in our country, that we have a different way of seeing things, a better way of seeing things. But at the end of the day, we're happy to be alive, and happy to have this pandemic, getting more and more in our rearview mirror. And also, this past congressional year, in November, I should say in August here in St. Louis, in our primaries, a former Congressman William Lacey Clay lost his race to Congresswoman Cori Bush, and right now he is now registered as a lobbyist, and that's what most congressmen do. When they lose out, they become lobbyists. But unfortunately for him, and then not unfortunately for him, all lobbyists, all congressional people have to wait 1 year before they can start lobbying in D.C. So, but that doesn't prohibit him from being a lobbyist in say Missouri, and so he can lobby there. And also, it may be his store also, because he can raise money by being a lobbyist. He can get his name out there. Also, he may decide to run for the Congress again. Who knows? And also, we will say this: we have an open seat in our in the United States Senate, Congress, Senator Blunt decided to step down, and also Senator Blunt is also part of leadership in the Senate. So it would be a loss to us in Missouri. But now, as it turned out, do we have everybody?
No, we're here.
We still here.
Shane?
Yes, hello.
How you doing? Okay, we have a very special situation today. A report, I should say, Shane Hubbard, who is normally heard every third Saturday of the month. Right now, her family is heading to Tulsa, or maybe in Tulsa by now. Shane, so how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Well, life is good. Right now, I spoke about this a little earlier on, okay, about what's going on in Tulsa and had a little history. Tell us a little bit about the history right quick, and we can understand what's going on.
Well, I know this weekend basically is going to be the 100-year anniversary of the terrible event called the Tulsa Race Massacre, basically. And the white population of the town, right, burned down this prosperous black area, it was called the Greenwood District, right? And they burned it down. They, literally killed people. They had people lose family members, and it was a terrible event, right? But the thing is, there's still survivors, even right now, who are 100 years old plus. And we want them to have justice. We want their descendants and families to have justice, right? And so that's basically what is going on right now. I have not made it to Tulsa yet.
Okay.
But we're on our way. I'm going to go visit my family down there. And, some of my family did survive that event as well.
That's one thing, okay. People are trying to make, even in Oklahoma, the governor signed a bill that was passed, and they didn't want to talk about black history, for lack of better description, okay. But right now, you got family members that lived through this, what took place. And so you have actually a direct understanding, because you lost somebody in your family.
Well, actually, all my family survived, right?
That's good.
And they lived to tell the tale. One lived to 2014, which was my cousin Harold, and he gave a testimony about what happened in this book called Riot on Greenwood. And
what's the name of the movie again?
Riot on Greenwood, I believe.
Okay, what was his name? And you look at the author.
Harold Woods. Harold Woods. And his first name was William. We all just called him Harold. So, cousin Harold.
I understand. We got nicknames. Yeah, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And so basically, the family owned a restaurant in that area, and they lived in that area, right? And cousin Harold was born just a little before the town was like completely destroyed.
Wow.
And from what I've been told is that they were put in a camp by this militia. So they got captured, and they didn't. Like, after they were released from this little camp, right? I'm not sure how long they were in there. After they were released, they did not move back to Tulsa. They moved to Coffeyville, Kansas, which is like about 30 miles away from Tulsa. I'm pretty sure. It's not that far.
Wow. You don't hear about stuff like that, that every day, that's even right now, Tulsa is a booming town. Not a booming city, not a town, in reality. It's doing quite well, and a lot of the places where the back in the Greenwood district, all that's been built over, and blacks have been homes taken away from them, land taken away from them. And there's still discussion there about trying to have some type of reparation. How is that going?
Well, I know they had this conversation in about the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, about giving these people, the living descendants at that time, right? Not living, the survivors and their descendants reparations back in 2003. They had a commission on it. So the city known about it, right? But the city never acted on that. And my cousin, I was talking to him, right? And his father is the one who survived. His father was Cousin Harold. And he told me basically they waited for them to all, the survivors to pass away, right? And they didn't do anything. And they have to do something to serve justice, because it's been going on for way too long, this injustice.
Well, I know right now we have a lot of black stations, a lot of black stores, I'm in there, and there's a movie, matter of fact, almost every cable station has some type of a special program being aired about what took place in there, okay, and trying to bring attention to this. How does the white people in in Tulsa, how do they go about dealing with this? All this information coming out.
Well, like what I heard is like a lot of people never knew about this story at all until recently, and they just put it in the curriculum in Tulsa like last year, right? And so people are really shocked that this even happened. And it's like, I read online, this person's like, I lived in Tulsa all my life, but I never heard about this. I'm like, wow. And what's crazy is people just did not know, and they're just getting a real rude awakening. That's what I feel is happening. For me, I learned at the age of 14, and I was absolutely disturbed of what I found out, right?
How did you find out about it? How did you learn about it?
So my father, Wayne Hubbard, right, and his cousin Ken Berry, which is the nephew of Cousin Harold, right? They were going to see family, right? And so they came to Kansas City, and they brought this book called Riot on Greenwood. And my dad brought it home, and I started reading it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. And the more I read it, it just broke my heart. I cried reading it. And I called a couple of my family, right, to see did this happen to our family, right? Called the family historian, right, who does all the genealogy, right? I was like, hey.
Who's in the family?
Oh, his name is Mark Harrison. He does a lot of the family genealogy, right? And I myself have been real interested in my family genealogy as well. So I've been trying to bring everyone together, collect photos, collect information about just all in general about family. And I really do love my family.
Well, I know. Matter of fact, Cheyenne is also heard every. You on this series with MC, am I right? No, this series,
No, less.
No, we was on last series. We was for MC Richard. Matter of fact, his show is guests will come to Kansas City because on that 5 o'clock on Ferguson University HotDogGill.com. And what you have done for his family is did the genealogy, and we have collaborated. And I said, the station has been the family together on a couple of conference calls, and it's been unbelievable as the story's been told about these family members. That family they didn't even understand, but the genealogy, like you said, all because of what you have actually. Well, that's one of your hobbies. That's one of your business is. You started doing genealogy.
Yes, I have a business called Connected Trees, and you can find it on Facebook. And I find people genealogy. I make family trees for them, find their relatives that they haven't spoken to in years. Yes, I do all that stuff.
Okay, now, so how did you feel? That's one more time. I know that when you read the book, okay, the book that you had, and you read it and you couldn't put it down evidently, and then you asked, "Is this true?"
Well, at first I was like, this is so awful. I can't believe this happened. But then I was like, American history is kind of dark. And so I was like, this definitely did happen. And the book, right, on Greenwood, right, it goes in a lot of detail that you won't find anywhere else. And it's their eyewitness accounts, right? Oh, I definitely recommend anyone to get that book if you're curious about what happened.
So let me ask you a question, okay? As we all hear about all this this weekend, on Memorial Day weekend, and this is almost come like Black History Weekend, okay? Because I'm looking on TV, they got demonstrations going on, for lack of a better description. You got young people, old people, you got different organizations, different sororities, and people, their families and stuff walking in the parades and stuff here, How does that make you feel as having a family that's, that actually was a part of the history that's being displayed?
Well, I am glad that they're finally talking about it. And because it has been ignored by history for so long, and they try to pretend that it didn't happen. And I'm glad that the story is getting told. I'm glad that these people, even at the age of 107, that old lady who gave a testimony about what happened, I'm glad that they're paying attention to her because, they silenced those people.
Yeah. One of the things that I grew up in the South myself, hold on, we're going to be checking here. This is interesting, okay? Okay, we're interested right now. Okay. I got a new telephone. I don't have a new phone. I got a new thing on my phone.
Oh, okay.
It's been updated, okay. So all the buttons are moving around. But anyway, we just been joined by Chuck DeBow. Chuck, how you doing, brother?
I'm beautiful, wonderful, good afternoon to everyone.
How you doing, Chuck?
My brother.
Well, what we did here, we had Cheyenne, who's headed to Tulsa, to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Tulsa there and how our family was involved with what took place there, and it's like a report on the spot report. So you guys are on the line with us also today.
Hey, Cheyenne. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Ooh, it's going well.
So let me ask you a question, okay? In D.C., how are people reacting to this, all the stuff they're hearing about what took place in Tulsa? Are just all over the neighborhood, all the news in the station to cover in some kind of way?
You talking about Black Wall Street?
Yeah, Black, they call it Black Wall Street, yeah, different ways. They got different names for it, yeah.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't think many people know about it. I mean,
Wow.
there are those that know about it, and then it's not in any textbook. And there's in the works a movie about it, but if you want to know about it, you got to seek it out. It doesn't come find you. And there's a TV show called something about country something with Smollett. I forgot her name. And
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft. Did you see that, Cheyenne?
Yeah, I've seen some of the episodes.
Yeah, well, that's the first show I've seen where they kind of weaved the Tulsa story into it. And in the story, and also in that show with Regina King.
Watchmen.
Watchmen. Now, Watchmen, in both stories, they kind of go flash back in time to the ancestry of people, of the main characters. And they made it, with these fictional type stories, they took the liberty, but they reversed the liberty of having what do they call it, intellectual freedom. And they put the story in there. And in Lovecraft, they actually had the planes going over and dropping bombs out, and they gave you a feel for what the atmosphere was like. But to answer your question, it ain't on the radar. Yeah, we're hearing a little bit here and a little bit there, but it's not on the evening news. It's not, it's not mainstream media news. In other words, walk up to a white folk and ask them if they know anything about it. And if they're not, you're in Missouri, so maybe y'all might know a little bit about it. Up here, we don't know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm just being real with you about it.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know about what really happened, and it's not being told. It's being told now more than ever, but it's not like you turn on the news in other states and you see it, right? Since I live in Kansas, they talk about it a little bit, but I'm not sure if you're going to hear about it on the East Coast or West Coast, really.
Well, I'm going to say something. I don't think they want you to know about it. They're not proud of it. And it is so overt and so obvious that usually when we get to these kinds of things, it takes somebody like the BBC or somebody from another realm, that doesn't feel responsible or linked to it in some way, then the real story will come out. But I did read or hear somewhere where somebody's making a movie about it, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if those somebodies that are making a movie of Afro descendant telling that story. But it is what does it do? It demonstrates and shows us what happens. You know, you hear talking about cycling within a culture. You know, and how, like in let's say the Jewish culture, $1 might exchange hands 21 times. So one person spent $1, but the person they spent it with kept it in that community and spent it again, and they cycle it 21 times. In the black community, you know, and we got all kind of economists that got the facts on it, but I think it's like maybe we're lucky if we get 5 times. You know, because the moment you step out there and you go to that Korean convenience store, or you know, the Jewish dry cleaners, or the Indian, you know, people down the street or whatever, that money's gone out the community. So the residual value, the impact of our spending power isn't it isn't a residual value to us. We're spending a lot of money now. Ain't no question about that. But just who's benefiting from it?
Because I know here in Missouri, okay, even here in St. Louis, being a fan of black business to do business with, okay, which is one of the things, you know, much of my comments is working hard to do here, is create some job spaces, you know, create some businesses, for blacks to have a business to go into to make money, to be able to, you know, touch them in some kind of way. Because it's like you said, you know, here in Missouri, I want to say it 5 times here. You know, we look if we get at least 3 times around. That's if you're lucky. And you got to go find some black business also.
That's right.
You know, it's not like you go down to the corner store here, you know, and say, oh, guess what? There's a man I know, you know, I'm going over to the Fred's store here to buy this or buy that, you know. You got to be a specialty almost when you go shopping in the black community, in the black business. Or also like real to me today, okay, that this gentleman that's going to be calling me to hopefully join the chamber, you know, in the near future, okay. But that's how we do it here in St. Louis. It's by word of mouth, and I would tell somebody, oh, you know, so-and-so got a business now. Oh, for real? I didn't know that. And I think that's pretty much where you go most places.
You know, but that's too much like right, isn't it? Too much. There is so much so. But I tell you what, we're going to do a better job of it. That's part of our responsibility, too, as advocates of commerce via these black chambers, to let people know and to encourage them. I have been encouraged to see that, you know, we got outside of just doing that around the holidays. You know, Black Friday, well, there was the Black Friday, you know, let's shop some black businesses. And it was, you know, a community kind of thing. It's just us talking to our friends and neighbors, let's support these people. Then after the pandemic economy, it's like, well, where are you? You know, other people trying to say, where are you at? You know, can we patronize you? Can we do some business with you? And we're getting there. I mean, yes, but there's some people who got some really good products. It may not be a store per se, but it's online, and they got things. And certainly when you're getting into fashion and some other things like that, it's all about the creativity and how it looks.
Yeah, I think in the fashions, and especially in the jewelry business, and also in the heritage business, you know, that's something about back here in Missouri. We got a bill that's been circulating about where they were trying to change the laws for beauticians when it came to doing black hair. You know, they wanted to make some changes there, you know, which didn't make a lot of sense. Okay, mainly because she found so many people getting their hair braided, and normally that was came like a black business, you know, back then was doing it, 5 minutes doing that. And so the state wanted to get off into that, okay, and tax them, for lack of a better description. And that's normally when a black business, you know, industry, I should say, was taking wings a little bit. The state wanted to figure out how they can tax you. Which in one way is a positive thing that they notice, okay, but the state want to make sure that they and like I said, it's crazy for to be having a discussion about it, okay, but it's also, kind of putting black beauticians out of business also. Because now they got to afford my business license and stuff like that. So, Shannon, how you feel about that? Shannon?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, my phone cut out. Sorry about that.
Okay, I was saying that in Missouri, they're trying now to tax black beauticians, the people who braid hair. And it was the industry that was primarily, you had mostly blacks doing braids and stuff, And so now the state wanted to start taxing them. And to me, that is, it's a good in a way that it become noticed, but in a bad way that it's going to, probably put some blacks out of business who don't want to be involved in stating their business, so to speak.
Yeah.
But they do a regular business license for some beauticians.
Yeah, you still have to. You still have to have like a type of license to braid hair, right? In Missouri, is that correct? But with them taxing it, I feel like it's definitely going to put, I wouldn't say a lot, but some black people who does that out of business, right? Because it's like, they're adding more regulations, because before you just got your hair braided. You paid someone and got your hair braided. I know that whenever I wanted my hair braided, I go to my grandma and she would braid it. And so them taxing them, I can definitely see that some people just going straight out of business. Or just like, how do I put that nicely? Them just braiding hair in their home, and calling it a day.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I want to make sure I understood what you're saying. Are you saying that the legalities around black hair care are changing?
In Missouri, yes. For a young lady, anybody get their hair braided, normally, it's done by blacks. The braid would be done. And in most cases, like Shannon's usually done in a home. Sometimes somebody you know, somebody in your family. And so you got certain beauty shops that also will braid your hair. So they're saying now they want to get your business license, for your shop, that you got to pay a special license to be able to braid hair. And it's primarily appears applies to most black business owners who, at that point, decided to put them out of business for the most part. Or they have more restrictions. Okay.
So, in other words, if you're a beauty shop and you had been offering braiding services, in order to continue to do that, you got to go get a license or essentially be certified.
Right. That's right. Certified. Come back with one of my wife's beauticians, and then I think they put out of business.
And it's hard to get that certification or that license.
Yes. And it's never called to your shop.
See, and I know.
Go ahead, Cheyenne, because you've got.
And like the beauty schools, right? They usually just teach a Eurocentric, beauty standard and how to do only straight hair in these types of beauty schools. They don't even teach how to do black hair. And for them to put a license on it, where they don't even train normal beauty schools to do it, it's just extra, in my opinion. You can go ahead.
Oh, it's disgraceful. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if that improves, if as a consumer, and let's say somehow you were getting infected or your hair is falling out or wasn't done right or something, I can see the provocation to that, we've got to improve practices or put some standardization to it. But it seems more. So who's got these licenses? Are they what? The Koreans? You gotta go to a Korean now or something? You know, like a nail spa. Do they have the licenses? Is that what they're trying to do? You know, it's ridiculous. But if that's the game, then okay, so we're going to have to play the game. And whatever the encumbrances or the filters or things that make it difficult to get, we'll have to deal with it. And so if you are a black salon and you do get certified, does that mean you're going to pick up this other business? You know, one thing I will say about this now, these beauty shops make a lot of money. Ain't no question about that. And a number of them should, in fact, reinvest in the business and raise the bar. Some of them have, you know, and I only go there because I know. I'm trying to remember where I was living. I think it was somewhere like in the South. I wasn't living, but in the South, like in the Carolinas or Atlanta or whatever. They started having some of these beauty salons open 24 hours because people that work night shift or work all through and need to be off, you know, the only time they can go to the beauty shop is on Sunday. They will be there for them on that. And these women are spending some serious money.
Oh, yes.
You know, so they're going to get them open for them. And not to mention all this weave and all that. You know, you talk about braids, weaves, shoot. The hair alone costs I don't know how much. And where you got to go to get it. And who's got it. You know what I mean? They
go to Korean.
You know, I happened to have the occasion to meet Bernard Bonner of the Bonner Brothers, and they're the ones behind the hair show that's gotten so famous down there in Atlanta. And the amount of foreign or non-black community interest that's in those things is shocking. You know, the Asians have tried to corner the market on hair. And even though some of that hair is Brazilian, or I've heard there's a monastery somewhere in India where they buy the hair off the nuns and the girls that live there, and they just grow it to a certain length and then let them cut it and sell it for some crazy price. But, you know, these are poor people, too, so they ain't paying that much. You know, but it's exploitive in some aspects, and a person will go to any lengths to get that profit, and then do what? Sell it back to the black community over here. So anyway, we're getting off into some rabbit holes.
We're going down some rabbit holes here.
Yeah. And the only reason I know all that because I was trying to help a person that was in the hair business.
Yeah, I know some around here. I've been trying to help also. But anyway, Cheyenne, I'm not going to hold you too much. Okay, I just want to get your take, okay, what's going on in Tulsa. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank your mother and father. I talked to your mother last night. By the way, congratulations to her and Wayne. They just won a national award. Tell us what they like that while you go, Cheyenne.
Oh, they won an award with I believe, Forest Service. They keep winning stuff, so I don't keep up with it. They're like, oh, guess what, we won. And I was like, okay. And they're all very happy for them.
Yeah. One of the very few blacks, you know, are involved in the industry, but then to be recognized as one of the best in the country and the world for the most part. We're very proud of them. But anyway, Shannon, on that note, thank you so much, okay? And we will continue sometime to have a safe trip, and we will talk sometime next week.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, Chuck, we just had to include Cheyenne here, a little bit about that. But thank you for calling early here, but thank you for being a part of that, okay? But I did it, Chuck. What's going on on the East Coast, and what's going on first of all with the American Dream Marketplace?
We'll talk about American Dream. We are working on I really want to call it a sub portal or a thing is just focus on diversity recruitment, jobs, internships. You know, the NBCC has had for many years what we call a diversity recruitment center, but we didn't really promote it out there. But we're hearing so much talk about diversity in these companies and the hiring of diversity chiefs and all these people, and seeing that the people they're hiring to be in charge of diversity are not diverse themselves.
Oh, amen.
So, you know what I mean? And these are six-figure jobs and with all the benefits and all that. And so people are flocking to try to get one of these jobs. So here we come now and say, all right, so, you know, let's do your report card. How many people you got? What are you looking for? You know, and that's the other cop-out thing that's always been going on, too, about we can't find them. You know, we want some diverse candidates, but we can't find them. Well, I say, okay, we're going to remedy all that. So we're going to have a place, but we're going to go around and say, because there are millions, multi-millions of dollars spent on postings and advertising for that job. These job boards, they make a killing. And these companies they got a budget. And they just say, well, we're advertising these two jobs. And we're talking about big corporations that might be having 200 or 300 positions they're trying to fill right now.
Well, Chuck, you know, most major corporations, okay, and especially that deal with, you know, on a national basis, most all of them right now are creating a division for diversity. You know, because
exactly.
You know, I mean, and so in doing that, because they have a diversified, you know, and they don't want to be seen, okay, as not being sensitive, okay, to the black community. And so the best way, you know, to be insensitive.
Oh, I got a good one for you.
Come on, bring it on.
You can say what you just said. They're sensitive to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a fire up underneath them. You mess around now and let one of these employees file a suit on you, some kind of discrimination. I mean, they got so many different variations of discrimination now. Whether it's what do they call it, gender neutral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you have a bathroom for the person that doesn't identify as a man or a woman, or do you know what's going on with how you promote white women, black women, Asian women, Latin women, or Latin men? So a woman, and I have to find the story on it, but there was I believe it was a black woman that worked for Amazon, and she'd been there so many years, had all the qualifications equal to the other people that she was comparing herself to, and she felt that not only did they refer to her in some condescending or sexual way, or honey or hun, or little thing, you know, things like that. I don't think they were necessarily physical with her. But anyway, she filed a lawsuit, and boy, they paid her something like $27 million. So when you talk about that word sensitive, they sensitive to it now. They better get sensitive, because you're going to pay. And no matter how much money you got, there's some manager, there's somebody somewhere. Just like we were talking about that thing up in Connecticut with those nooses hanging in on the workplace. Yeah, by the time somebody just says, you know what, I think I'm just going to file a case on that. I'm just going to speak up and say something about that.
Yeah, and you know,
and so by the time they do that, here we go. It just costs you, on Amazon, is probably one of the bigger ones, because, you know, $27 million, you go out here and get choked or shot or whatever in the back, you know, or through your bedroom or something by the police, and not get that kind of money.
But you know, Chuck, recently, it's mine, okay, but one of the corporations, had a lawsuit filed. Well, let me say here in Missouri, but I want to say is that we have stuff that hardly been used. that somebody put a, like, you can drive through the chicken, so you have to through the line to get some chicken. And so somebody put a poster on there saying that they would only serve black folks. Something to that effect, okay? Well, naturally, it made local news here and stuff in a couple of different places. But once these things take place, okay? Oh, that's what I want to say. A couple of years ago, Starbucks shut down all their stores, you recall. Over some incidents about people being insensitive to black people, you recall that? And they all had to have training on how to be
yeah. I remember that was it. That used to be the thing. Before George Floyd, you had to go get some training. You had to be go to sensitivity school or something, or racial equity school or something.
Yeah, I mean, and then Starbucks shut down all their stores for like a whole week. Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, and everybody had to go get trained. And that's where the way the lady that did that at the time was, the president was a black lady and with the president, and she since that time got promoted to another company right now. It's still the name of the company, where she's one of maybe a couple of black women who are now head of CEOs, I should say, of Fortune 500 companies.
She is sharp too. I like her. I forgot her name. And she just got hired to somebody, big job.
Yeah, you're right. Right now, she's one of the top, one of the few black CEOs of Fortune 500. Black females, I should. But just like, yeah, few black period, okay, but to be a female, okay, in the industry, and but she kind of cut her teeth, okay, of being sensitive to the black issues. And that's why I say that the risk of training, and I can't sit here in this area almost every week, okay. Even in the St. Louis Cardinals, they just have a former player right now. They want on the baseball team in history right now to actually hire a person, okay, to look at sensitivity, to the and that fact, they should, because St. Louis Cardinals, they did a poll some years ago, and they had probably less than 5% blacks coming to baseball games. And so they're actually trying now to get more blacks, to come to the games. As well, recruit more blacks on the team.
The lady who is, she's the new head of Walgreens. Her name is Roz Brewer. That's one of them. The other one is, I think you mentioned Starbucks.
Well, she was at Starbucks. What you get from Starbucks?
Yeah, Rosalind came from Starbucks. There's another lady now that's in Chase Bank. She came from TIAA. Her name is Deshawnda Brown Duckett.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones saying, "Yeah, girl, go on sue them because we gonna pay you."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You got somebody that understands what it is, and they want to clean it up. And believe me, all the board members, all the equity holders, everybody, they do not want their check get cut down because they got to settle these suits. It's like these police departments, or these cities. And for that matter, the government, man. If that money, if this $6 trillion that Biden wants to spend, or the $3.2 trillion that under Trump or whatever that came out as pandemic relief money, well, if that had to come out of somebody's check, don't you know we would not be have sold out our country, because those budgets would be balanced.
Chuck, you mentioned government. Okay, I remember years ago when I worked in the city, I was a cable compliance specialist. And people are aware, but the United States legal cities, legal cities, I should say, which is an organization that all cities are involved with. And so, we created an organization called the TOA, National Association of Telecommunications Advisors and Associates. Okay, and so we had a conference. And I was asked to chair, one of the conferences, and this was back in the 80s when they first were rolling out the bill for the gay ministry. And we, the blacks got together, okay, and I think we were down in Florida someplace. And what we did is we asked them, okay, to an ad hoc committee to review all cities, okay, to see if they had issues, okay, and keep them in compliance with minorities participation. And we actually ended up changing the laws there. And at the time, my boss at the time was also the president of the tour. And we had a conference here. And we was coming back from downtown looking at the hotel. And he said, he said, could you ask your committee, okay, to kind of hold back a little bit? Because as you look at all these different cities, that's who's in compliance. Well, the tour is not in compliance. And that just shows you how many times, okay, that's how we got so many black to the team ministry right away. That's something that I kind of championed back those days to make sure they would have blacks. Initially they weren't doing that. And then,
remember, Ira, how we have been talking about don't get too hypnotized by the media message or the imagery. Mm-hmm. We've been saying, stay woke, keep your head up, keep your head on a swivel, look around, watch what's really going on while they want you to focus here or focus there. Well, we've had all this talk about, what do they call it, the George Floyd bill, the new law that's going to be passed, and the no-knock warrants and all that kind of stuff going on. Well, in the meantime, so what are we doing? Look at what we're talking about. We're talking about the money. We're talking about money in your community, in your hands, in your world, in your life. Mm-hmm. And so now something that is almost as sacred as, I'm going to tell you like it is, sacred as chitlins.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? Something is black or as cultural as that. Now we're talking about braiding hair and weaving and all this kind of stuff. And now they go somebody who's not from your culture, although we have these politicians and this supposedly we're represented in there, saying, yeah, you're going to have to go get a license for that. Okay, so, that might be, you might make an argument that, what would they call those, birthing children in your home or something like that. Yeah, I could see where, we want to raise the standard of health care and that kind of thing. And maybe there's some health issues, something related to braiding hair and doing this and doing that. But, boy, they sure enough cutting your money is part of the game. And so here we are, what we just talked about, discrimination and how and whatever, and there's no pushback. There's no liability. There's no responsibility for it. And these are those things that you would think we don't have to march down Main Street over this in comparison to somebody's knee on your neck and dying and killing you or shooting you in the back of the head or all these other things. But now, while we're looking at that in the drama, here's this. And let me tell you something else, too, that just happened this week that I got a call on. So, the General Service Administration is called the GSA. That's where the government, anything they want to buy, anything they want to do, it's got to be in the GSA system. That's how they spend the money. Well, then they got this thing called SAM. And SAM is, if I'm getting the acronym correctly, System for Award Management. Okay. SAM, System for Award Management. What does that mean? Well, if you need to buy paper clips and you're in the federal government, it's got to go through the System Award Management. There might be some little things out of petty cash or something like that. But now, on the other hand, if you want to build an airport, you want to repair a bridge, you want to pave a road, you want to cut the grass on a military base, you got to have the System Award Management system be in there. Well, here's what happened. They say the website's being updated. Okay, everybody's just, sleeping or daydream, whatever, ain't paying no attention. The website's being updated. So we're going to be down for a few days, and we're updating the website, and we're going to come back up. So the website comes back online, and all of a sudden you can't access your account if you're a small business. You can't go in and see your status of whether you can go ahead and bid or not, because every other day, people got to check their status to see if something happened and they got kicked out, or their email wasn't working that day, or the phone number, they don't like the voicemail you got on your phone. There are all these different things. Well, now you can't go on there and check it unless you have certain level of approval, which no small business has. In addition to that, if you want to get your account updated, you got to submit a cell phone bill in your name and a driver's license as the owner of that business. Well, almost everybody understands anything about business knows that their phone is going to be in the business name. But they didn't put all this stuff in there, so now on one day we got one member, and I think you know Ira, they deal with federal contracting and advisory and consulting and working on behalf of businesses with their government contracting. They called me and said, "Oh no, we got an emergency here. We got 15,000 businesses on our website right now who can't access their GSA account, their SAM systems website or their portal to get in there." I said, "What do you mean? What happened?"
Wait a minute, let's go back here, okay? Because
I know it's involved, but it's deep. But the impact.
Well, I'm saying, but first of all, how many people know about this?
That's the whole problem. The only people that know about it are the people that can't access their site. And so you even have procurement officers that are trying to check the contracts or the awards they're trying to get out, and they can't access it.
Yeah.
So under the guise of a technical glitch, we're going to fix that or whatever. Well, we've been there. We know that. We know that story. We know how that song goes. When it's fixed, what is fixed? They're going to say, well, no, it's working right. Oh, so you mean it's not a website update, it's a change in policy. But they don't announce the change in policy. They don't say anything. They just change the website.
Well, Scott, I hear you.
So that's the whole point. Somebody wanted somebody to know, and they said, call the National Black Chamber of Commerce, because we're one of the few advocacy groups that is going to say something, that is going to do something.
Chuck, if I could say something, if you don't mind. This is Scott Owen, and as a veteran, I find the same thing. You know, basically, as a small business owner, we, you do something, even in healthcare. You know, they have their websites, and they're down or there's something wrong, even when you try to go in as a veteran, which really bothers me.
Veterans are very much part of this.
Oh yeah, and
you're part of the set aside. You're part of the goals and guidelines for federal procurement. Veterans are given some advantage.
No, they're not really.
Of being part of.
Not the small veterans.
But on paper, purportedly, I agree with you. You're not getting or tangibly gaining that access, but it's on paper. But see, that's this greed factor where these companies feel they need 100% of 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we're arguing for like 0.5, half a point, and they got to say, well, no, we're not giving up 0.5%. We got to have 100. 99.5 is enough of several billion for you? No, because we're gonna make that much more profit. There's no logic to it. I mean, it's just greed.
Yes, sir.
You know, and perhaps discrimination, racism, other things. But see, they go ahead and it's almost like go out here and shoot another black person, create a distraction, while we go ahead and run this other stuff up the back stairs.
Yeah, coming through the basement.
Yeah, some of that paycheck protection money got released on a weekend. What? Yeah, how could a bank open up on Monday morning and be broke? All the money's gone. But you didn't even have it on Friday, and now you opened up to give it out on Monday, and it's already gone, and you open at 9, at 9:01, the first customer through the door, sorry, we're out of money. That's the kind of thing that's going on.
And that happened to a lot of people, and so much then they go back and say, well, we're going to correct that, okay? And the people who got the money that first time around distributing it up, okay, they found a lot of people who got the money didn't deserve to have the money. It was embarrassing to try to turn it back in.
Yeah, they had to hand it back over.
Well, that's when it became required that they had to do an audit, okay, to find out who got the money. But at first, there wasn't any kind of audit, okay, to find out who got the money. But when they came up, we're going to find out who gets some responsibility, who got the money. That's when it came out about, well, guess what? We don't need the money. We don't need the money.
And you know what else, Ira? It don't matter whether it was red or blue, Democrat or Republican. It's the same story. They want you to believe it's conservative or it's liberal, or we love you or we down with you. And one group says, no, we're not down with you. We ain't thinking about you. You know, that's the difference. And at least you know what you're up against or what. But don't have me come sit in the house and break bread with you, and then all of a sudden behind my back, you're the knife in my back.
Mm-hmm. That's twisting it at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't know, man. The system in our society and our culture has been so repetitive for so many years. This isn't nothing new. But they're just trying to control the narrative and tell you what news person you should trust and just drink what they say. Drink that Kool-Aid they're serving versus this one over here. And people we get lazy. Or they knock out the black news. It used to be you could get some good news off. Remember when black radio stations had news departments?
Oh my God, yes. Matter of fact, you don't know more black radio stations.
No, they didn't just get rid of the news. They didn't get rid of the news. They got rid of the whole thing and the news on any station.
On any station. Matter of fact, I was about to say, no, there was a time, and Scott, you jump in here on this one, that we were around that before the news was released, okay, you had to be triple checked and checked 4 times and then broadcast. Nowadays, anybody that can get on the internet and put any lie out there that they want to, it's not verifiable. It doesn't matter because once it's out there, it's going to run.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
The big name that's out here for this system is the Beast merchandise. It's only to benefit the beast, not the people that's involved in it and participating with making things work for the better and the good of the country and the people.
Well, real first time I heard that, but I have to agree with you on that one. Because right now it's not. That's
exactly the point. That it has nothing to do with reporting the news as much as it's where the breadcrumbs are giving you to lead you down a path.
Mm-hmm. Chef, when I'm not doing my report before the show comes on, you come on every Saturday, and Scott, I spend time on a Friday all during the week, okay, verifying what I'm going to say before I say it. You know what I mean? Like now, I mentioned today, Congressman, ex-Congressman Clay is going to be a lobbyist now in the state of Missouri. I said, but he cannot lobby in D.C. because he got to be a congressman a year at the past before he can lobby Congress. So I made sure, okay, I distinguished between he's not a lobbyist, okay, he's lobbying only in Missouri, so people think he can go the wrong way. We heard him say that he's lobbying someplace. No. Let's make sure he's lobbying in Missouri, not the Congress. But those are the real facts.
Yeah, and the real fact, too, is that you could walk in the door and say, I have an issue, and I want to hire you to lobby for me, and they may not tell you that they got to really hire somebody else to go to the federal level, but the federal level starts at like $25,000 a month. And that was back 10 years ago. It might be $50,000 now. If you want a real lobbyist, that ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm. And really, you got to be like ex-congressman or somebody at that level that you actually, that they actually, gonna hire you, to be work for the company. Because a lot of this business is became one in D.C. where Chucky, there you have more lobbyists than you have 435 congressmen and senators, 535 congressmen and senators in D.C. How many lobbyists you have, Joe? You can't count them. You got thousands.
No, you can't even count them. I tell you what, they got a street dedicated to them, and they're high-rise buildings. And I can tell you what, just one of them law firms I know of has 7 jets.
Jeez.
Has 7 jets. And I'm about 1,500 lawyers, people working in the firm. Mm-hmm. So when we just happened to be, when the Indians were getting the casino licensing and all that stuff, they had to get it approved because you had all these places where it was really interesting how they developed it, but they said, we can have a casino on the reservation, but it has to be an Indian. And so you had these various tribes that had these like chains of casinos in places where they would never allow gambling. Well, I know that the ones up here that are, I think it's called Foxwood or somewhere up there in Massachusetts or somewhere, they got a bunch of different casinos around the country now. But I know the first one, they were hitting them up at $50,000 a month just to get the thing started. Now each casino might have to hire one at $50,000 a month. But that's just on this one thing. Now you got something else you need done, that's another $50. Or we're going to come up and pick you up and take you to lunch, and we're going to go to a meeting in Las Vegas. Well, by the time you get to looking at your bill for what you had to pay for that year, which was in the millions, you can see some jet flights on there. And it wasn't like the lawyer went and bought a first-class ticket on Delta or something. No. It's that private flight. That private flight might have cost $50,000. And, but they're like, well, you got it. What you worried about? You got it.
But the point I'm making here is that that's on Wall Street. But I'm saying, but in our nation's capital, they had, I think I read one time, they had almost 25 lobbyists to every congressperson up there. The rest of the person.
You have several different people working a congressman from the same company.
Yes.
So you got lobbyists, and then you got people that work for the company itself walking around. When I tell you about this, the Wireless Association, it's called CTIA. Man, they got so many different kinds of people coming at them on the same legislative issues. I mean, you got about 30 different organizations, and they're saying, go to this guy, and this is what we're going to ask him for. This is what we're trying to do. Talk to him. So they got the community groups. They got the industry groups. They got neighborhood groups. They got ethnic or racial groups. They got the small business groups.
Yes.
That's the world we live in. That's why everything is now is just it's not about the people.
No, it's not.
How do you think these pharmaceutical companies got away with this craziness that they're doing, and you can't bring in a cheaper medicine from another country or from Mexico or somewhere? Same exact thing. They don't allow generic drugs. How much did it take to get that in? Even though they test them, check them, and make sure that they work, and that's what it is supposed to be, You know, so you don't want necessarily China products coming in there because they don't care. They put anything and put a label on it and say, here, take it. You know, you got that.
But check, even check right now, the pharmaceutical company will sell something in Canada, other places cheaper than they will in this country.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The laws are supporting their high price ticket.
Thank you.
That's what's driving our healthcare cost up.
Right. You know, I think right now they're number one lobbyists in the country. I think the realtors are right behind them.
Let me ask you a question. I'm just curious about that. It was brought to my attention. Did you have to pay for your vaccine?
No.
But was there a cost associated with administering your vaccine?
No.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought these vaccines were free. And my wife just had to tell me, no, it was free to you because you have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, your insurance paid for it, but it ain't free. Somebody paid for it. It ain't free. So these billions of dollars or whatever that they paid, they said, well, who's it going to? So you mean the government paid $1 billion and bought all these vaccines, and now there's another cost, another fee associated with it to where what happens if you don't have insurance? Well, you can't get the vaccine. But not once have I heard that on the news. Some of these black folks, they're trying to say it's the black community and your educational level and your, educational levels code for how much money you got, or do you have a job, or what kind of job can you have? Well, so wait a minute. I just said, wait a minute, time out, because you mean some of these folks that might want it might not have the hookup. You might need to have Medicaid or Medicare or some kind of insurance or whatever, some kind of hookup, because now if you get a vaccine, we're going to enter you into the lottery and you might win $1 million or a trip to Las Vegas. All expenses paid for two. You know what? The game, man, is the game or whatever. But I've never heard them openly discuss the financial commitment that goes along with it.
But Chuck, on that note, okay, we're gonna try to stay on our time today. Give me one quick last 30 seconds for we'll get out of here on Memorial Day weekend.
Man, let's give thanks and praises to our people who serve our country, and salute and keep a humble in remembrance. Because even though we really haven't been in war since I don't know when, we still sure have a lot of people dying, don't we? Man, amen. God bless our veterans. Thank you for your service to our country. God bless America, and God bless Hot Talk Radio Ferguson and our audience. Love y'all. God praise.
On that note, my name is Ira Fowlkes, along with Red, along with Scott, and also with Cheyenne, and then with Chuck. So on that note, love you guys. Life is good. Talk to you next week.